Professor DePaulo. Welcome you to Psych 265 fully online. And I'm going to show you a walkthrough of the course and give you some basic ideas of what you need to be doing on a week-to-week basis in terms of the assignments that need to be completed and how to navigate the Blackboard environment. So this is the home page of your Blackboard course. It doesn't matter what section you're in. This is not available, but it will be available when you're on the course itself. You start with the announcements here, and whatever is relevant you'll see showing up in your announcements. I will also send announcements for the midterm and the final, just to remind you that these things need to be completed. And I give you this welcome message. You know, I'm Dan DePaulo. I'm a professor here at BMCC for the last 10 years or so. So it's a long time, actually. And we're going to be talking about research. And research is not what people consider the most exciting subject in the world, but I plan on making it as informative and as useful as possible. And it's really needed, because without research or without any kind of knowledge of research, you do not have any other areas of psychology. So whether you like social psych, or you like abnormal psych, or you like health psych or neuroscience or whatever, all of it is based on research. So without research, we don't have any psychology. We don't have any medical interventions, including drugs, pharmaceutical substances. We don't have any of that. So research is at the basis of everything. And that's why it's important. So although there's a lot of terminology and there's a lot of nuance and stuff that maybe doesn't sound overly enlightening to you, it's important to have the foundation so that you can understand how all other research and other information is found out about, discovered through psychology or through medicine or through biology, chemistry, whatever. Research is research. But we will focus mostly on human subjects research, so research with people. Now, I will go through the syllabus with you, and I'll talk about the course guide and the weekly guide. The weekly guide is like the key to everything. It's this tab here on the left. And the weekly guide is going to get you all your information like for each week. So what is due week 1, what is due week 2, etc. If you want the overview of things, you go to course information, you'll have the syllabus. So I'm going to show you that stuff right now. So if I click in course information, so there's a couple things here. The first is the syllabus. And then we have something called Launchpad, which I'm going to explain in a few minutes here. And the course guide. So let's start with the course guide. Now the course guide basically shows you everything that we're doing on a week-to-week basis. So week 1, here's the dates. And the dates may change depending on the semester and the section, etc. But you have week 1. This is what we're covering, chapter 1. This is the textbook, pages in the textbook. This is the assignments that are due in week 1. This is Launchpad chapter 1 and the welcome unit. So the welcome unit's kind of a small, brief sort of introduction to Launchpad, and then chapter 1. And all those assignments are due here at this date in this time. And then when you're in week 2, you have the week 2 rundown. So you can see the whole entire semester, week by week, all planned out for you in advance. And I will stick to these dates. All the assignments are due on Sundays, the last day of the week. So make sure you check the assignments and the due dates each week. This is the course guide. This gives you an overview of the course. So that's that. Now the syllabus, there's a little more detail on it. This gives you the name of the course, the sections, the credits, the semester, which will change depending on the year of the course. The method is fully online, asynchronous. So we are not meeting, we are basically conversing online through email or through office hours or through Zoom, if you need it. So you need to make an appointment with me if you want to come for office hours, just so that I can have a schedule. So I don't have like, 10 people waiting for me and I'm trying to squeeze them into like a half hour. I can't work that way. So if you need to meet with me, send me an email and I'll set aside some time for you during my office hours, which are going to be, in this case, Mondays 2 to 4. So those are my office hours for this course. Send me an email. We'll set up a time. We can talk about it. If you need quicker answers, send me email and ask me the questions. I respond to my emails pretty rapidly, except in the morning. Mornings are not great for me, so afternoons and evenings, I'm more paying attention to things. Not a morning person. This is the course description. Here's my email, very important. Here's the office phone. I do not plan on being in the office, so just email me. Don't bother calling and leaving a message because it's going to go to my email anyway. So just email me. That's the best way to do it. If you want to set up a meeting on Zoom, that's fine. If you just have to have questions, I can respond to you through email. That's fine too. Whatever you need, but send me emails. Do not call. The course description is all about research. You can read through this. Not too exciting. These are the student learning outcomes. The required reading, very important. Now, the name of the book is Discovering the Scientists Within, second edition, but you need to also buy the Launchpad. The Launchpad is the online homework. You need that. Without the Launchpad, you're going to have a big 0 in your final grade. The Launchpad is the homework assignments each week that help you process the information. So you have to purchase this. So you can do two things. If you purchase the Launchpad software from the website that I give you down here, this is where the Launchpad course is, you can buy it online. It's going to be cheaper. If you just buy it, you'll get the ebook with it. So if you just buy the software, you will get the ebook with it. And the ebook lasts for 6 months for the entire course. If you want a hard cover or a hard copy or something to hold and read on your own, you don't like reading the ebook. Personally, I read ebook. I read off the phone. I read off the tablet. I read off the computer. Maybe that's not the best for my vision because my vision is terrible. But I read off of things, so I can read the ebook. But some people like to have something to hold and they want to read it on their couch without holding the tablet up. If you want something tangible, then I suggest you buy the loose leaf version that comes with Launchpad. So I give you the ISBN number. This is the version of the book that comes with Launchpad access code. That's very important. You have to have the Launchpad access code because you have to have Launchpad. Do not just buy a used copy of the book without the access code because that's not going to help you. You need to either get it from the bookstore, which I've placed an order with, or you can get it online, but make sure you get the Launchpad access code with it if you're buying the loose leaf copy. You can also buy, I think they have a paperback version, but it's probably even more money than a loose leaf. So the cheapest one is just the ebook, and you get the Launchpad with the ebook. And then the second cheapest one is the loose leaf version. Unfortunately, the free textbooks that some professors are offering for certain courses, they're not that great. They're not high quality. There are some that are passable but extremely boring. And they're not going to work for a course like this, what I want to do. So you do have to pay for the book, but the book, I think, is very much worth it. And I think the Launchpad is worth it because you will actually learn interactively. Better than any homework assignment I can give you. And I will give you additional homework assignments. But the Launchpad supplements all the stuff that I'm giving you, and it helps you process the information better than anything I can give you to do that. I give you discussion boards, and that helps with processing, but it's not as good as the Launchpad. So that's why I'm having you buy the Launchpad, because I really do think it's an excellent program. I've used it for years and years and years now, and I find this better than anything else that I've used, including McGraw-Hill Connect and the Pearson thing and all that stuff. This one's the best. So that's why I'm having you buy it. So I apologize in advance for you having to buy the Launchpad and the book, but it's worth it. And it's kind of necessary to learn the information. So you must purchase Launchpad. There is a 2-week free trial you can get, but you can't just do all the work in 2 weeks for the whole semester. It's not going to work that way. So the 2-week free trial is to get you something temporarily when you're waiting for financial aid or you're waiting for your next paycheck or whatever, to then go out and buy the Launchpad and the book. It's not meant for you to do the entire semester's work in 2 weeks, because you can't do that. It's not realistic. So don't try. If you sign up for the 2-week free trial, please use the same email address for when you buy the full Launchpad. So if you're using the 2-week free trial, you need to use the same email address when you register for the full Launchpad version for the course. Same email address. Do not use different ones, because then it goes into my gradebook and I can't figure out what's what. Use the same email address for the trial and for the purchase. So let's look at what Launchpad, here's the link that I provide you for the course. So let's click on that and look at what Launchpad actually looks like. And it looks like this. Here's my name, here's the course. And you either have to create an account. So if you do not have a Macmillan account, a Launchpad account, which you probably don't, you need to create the account, and it's going to ask you a bunch of stuff, and that'll set up your free trial, and then you can actually purchase the software. Now, I have an account, so I can't set up, I'm not going to do the free trial here, but you can create the account first. If you have an account, which means you basically purchase the software, and you have the Launchpad access code, right? You can then log in with your email. So I'm going to put my login here and your password. It's pretty easy to set up and register for. And then you sign in, and you're in your Launchpad course. So all you have to do is enter the course. And this tells you what you have due. Now, all of these assignments are due later in the semester. So the first week is only the welcome unit in chapter 1. There's a whole bunch of other assignments here, but I'm not going to show you all of that because it's not due till later in the course. So these are the 2 things that are due, and here's the due date. February 6th. It's February 6th. So these are the due dates. And if I want to go through this, I just click on it. Welcome unit. And it tells me things to do. So you see that little blue box that says to do? When that's completed, it'll be a green box, which means it's done. So you just want to do everything that says to do. And there's a point total next to it, 5 points, 10 points. That's how much it's worth in your Launchpad grade. And your Launchpad grade is a large chunk, very large chunk of your final grade. So you want to make sure you do the work. If you do the work each week, you'll be fine. If you don't do the work, what'll happen is Launchpad will give you a 0 and it'll lock you out. So it's very important that you do the work assigned each week, or you will get a 0 and you'll be locked out of doing that assignment. And then you're going to come to me and you're going to say, please let me do this, open the assignment up and let me do it. And it gets really annoying over the semester for me to keep doing this. I don't want you to be doing all the assignments at the end of the semester. Don't ask me for this. Do the assignments when I tell you to do them. If you do them when I tell you to do them, you'll be fine. Okay? If you just kind of wait to the end of the semester and you said, oh, can you open up the entire semester's worth of assignments? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, I told you, do them each week. So if you don't do them each week, you'll get a 0. Now, if you're sick or something, something happens, then email me and let me know. I mean, there are extenuating circumstances, but there are not extenuating circumstances for the entire semester. So there are students that think they can do the entire semester at the end. You cannot do this. You cannot do the entire semester at the end. So get over that and start doing the work when it's assigned. If you're sick a week and you need to make up a week, then let me know. I'm understanding of these things. But there's a limit to my patience. I can tell when someone's trying and when someone's trying to just completely dropping the ball and saying, I'm just going to scramble at the end and do everything so I get some points. It's not going to work that way. If you can't do the work for the course every week, then the best suggestion is to withdraw and then come back and do the course when you have time, whether that's during the summer or next semester in the fall or next spring. It doesn't matter. If you can't do the work for the course, there's no point being in the course. You need to set aside time to do the work each week. I'm not asking for that much. It is work. I'm not going to say it's not going to take any time. It's going to take you time. But you're going to learn the material. And this is, a little bit of a higher level course than the other psych courses you've taken. Unless you've taken my stats course, which you probably haven't because I haven't taught it this year. That's probably a little bit a leg up on everything. But outside of that course, this is a difficult course. So expect a lot of work and expect, you to work for your grade. Can you get an A? Of course. I give A's every semester. I give A's every semester. I give F's every semester. It's nothing personal. If you get an A, great. Congratulations. You worked hard for it. If you get an F, you didn't work enough for it. You didn't do the work. It has nothing to do with me as a professor. Students like to thank me for when they get an A, and I'm like, why? Why are you thanking me? All I'm doing is crunching numbers in a spreadsheet. You're the one doing the work. So if you get an A, you've earned it. You don't have to thank me for it. But if you get an F, don't come blame me for it. Because it's in your hands. You set your own outcome by your work ethic and how seriously you take the course. It's not me. I do my best to help you, and I'm making myself available to you. I want you to succeed. Shit, I want everybody to get A's. If everyone got A's, I'd be happy. I'd be a little suspicious, but after I got over the suspicion, I'd be happy. So I want people to do well, but you're gonna have to work for it. It's not given to you. And the other reason it's not given to you is because when you move on to the 4-year college and you move on hopefully to graduate school or to something better in your life or a job or whatever, something different than what you're doing now, things are going to be more difficult. And you're going to have to be prepared, and you're going to have to know how to work hard for it. You're going to have to know how to be disciplined and, take care of things when you have to take care of things. So I like to look at it as a transition course. I'm transitioning you for better things in the future. But with that transition and expecting a little bit more of you comes with the responsibility on your part to keep up, to really do your part, and to do the work in a timely manner. So I have a little bit of higher expectations in this course. So try not to disappoint me. So let's take a look more in depth here in the Launchpad so I don't have to talk all about this motivational speech here. And I click on look on the Launchpad, you'll read through this. It tells you how Launchpad works, right? And then once you're done with that, getting started, it asks you a bunch of questions. So based on your reading. So those are easy points. And then when you get into chapter 1, you can actually read the text right here. So you see where it doesn't say to do. If it doesn't say to do, it's basically something you could read. So here you don't see to do. So if I click on it, I can read the text directly from Launchpad. And here's your text. So this is just the learning outcomes. And I go to the next page of the ebook. Scroll down. You can even, do the audiobook if you want. And you just keep scrolling through this. So you could read the book this way. If you want to read and scroll through, it even asks you questions in here that aren't graded, but they're part of your understanding. So if you want to read from here, you can read from here. That's fine. Just make sure you do all the sections that say to do. Like here, goals of the scientific method. You know, you want to go through reading this and then click on the activity. And it's going to ask you a bunch of questions. And you keep doing this until you get to the end. You'll see all these turn green. And once these are all not blue anymore and they're all green, you're good. That means you're done. So you should do all these sections. Now, if you want to read the book without clicking on each of these little headings, you can go to something called ebook here. And you can just read the whole ebook this way, which I think is easier. You still have to click on things, but you can scroll down, right, and then click on next. Scroll down, and then click on next again, and keep going through it this way. And this is basically, you're used to reading on the computer, at least I am. So it's not that big of a deal if you want to just read the ebook. The only downside of the ebook is you will not have it after 6 months. So after 6 months, you lose all of this. Now, do you really care? That's really up to you. If you want a hard copy, if you want something to take or to maintain after 6 months, then maybe you want the loose leaf version, or maybe you want even the paperback. The loose leaf is probably the cheaper one. You put it in a binder, and just be careful turning the pages so you don't rip it. And you'll have something you can have for the future if you want. Most of you don't want to maintain all the books for the future, but some of you might. So the ebook is good for a lot of people. The majority of the class gets the ebook, usually. Some people like the more hard copy or tangible, and that's fine too, which is a little bit more money. So ebook is here on the left. You also have your gradebook here, where I can look up your grades, and you'll see your grades on each assignment if you click on this. And the calendar shows you the due dates, what assignments are due each date. So if I preview as a student, because this is the instructor view, as a student, this is what you'll see. And you'll see your gradebook here. So your grades will all be entered here on the right for each of the assignments. So if you check your gradebook, you can see exactly what you've done. So you see for the first week, you have these 2 different assignments here. Some of them are just reading through it. If you read through it, you'll get the full 5 of 5 points. So some of it's not like where they're asking you questions. You just get credit for doing it or reading it. Other things where you see quiz, that's where you're going to have to answer questions. If you see activity, you're going to have to perform an activity. And you might see multiple choice quiz after the activity. So here's the activity and here's the quiz. So you got to do the activity first, and once you do the activity, you get credit. Now you do the quiz. And the quiz, they ask you a couple questions. The practice quiz is generally the longest. They may ask you up to 10 questions. And this is the way of seeing, how much you've learned from the chapter and from the activities. So that's basically how Launchpad works. As you can see here, 0% complete. It'll tell you if it's 100% complete when you finish it. And these are the things you have to do. For example, research and action activity. It asks you to go through the slides, and it talks about different things, and then you have to answer questions. It's interactive. I find the activities to be very helpful. To review the concepts. You also have something called a learning curve, which helps you review the concepts. So a learning curve asks you a bunch of questions. You hit begin activity, it asks you questions, and it gives you choices for answers, and it gives you points, and you have to get up to 450 points to finish the task. But you can also keep doing this, and if you want to go further, once you're finished the task, you can also relearn the material. So it's kind of just, it's like an interactive quiz, but it keeps changing the question for you. It may ask you the question a couple different ways. and it allows you to sort of process the material and see where your mistakes are, and it tells you what you need to focus on. So, are you good at a certain part of the chapter? Is there another part of the chapter you need to improve on? It'll tell you what your percentage is, and then you can go back and review it, and you learn that way. So it's interactive. The computer does a great job. I mean, unfortunately, as a human being, I cannot devise such wonderful assessments that a computer can. I can write discussion board questions and have you complete them, which I've done for this course, but they're not the same as having this interactive computer feedback in terms of learning. And that's why I'm really sold on the program, and I think that the program will help you learn the material really efficiently. You might have to put time into it. It's not something that you can do in 5 minutes. But if you set aside time each week to do it, you're going to learn the material. And so that's Launchpad. I think Launchpad is great. Some of you may agree, some of you may disagree, but I really stand behind the product. I think they do a better job than these other products in terms of helping you learn the material. So that's Launchpad. Let's go back to the syllabus. So you can either buy the ebook, as I said before. That's the website we were just on with Launchpad. So if you get Launchpad, you get the ebook with it. So this is basically purchasing a Launchpad with the ebook, or you can get the loose leaf with the access code. You need the access code. So no matter what version of the book you have, if you get a physical copy of the book, whether it be loose leaf, paperback, whatever, you need to get the access code. If you do not get the access code, then don't get the book. You need the access code. If you just buy the Launchpad on the website, you don't need an access code because you're buying the software from the website. You only use the access code if you buy a hard, some kind of solid, tangible book, anything other than an ebook. If you just buy the access, you get the ebook with it. So the ebook, you don't need the access code, you get it with the software. You're buying the software directly from Macmillan. Okay. Course theme: extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Carl Sagan. This pertains to the whole extraterrestrial phenomenon. So this is, aliens. Are aliens real? And we all have different beliefs about aliens. Carl Sagan would say, look, if you're going to say aliens exist, you better have extraordinary evidence. You better have really solid evidence to make such a claim. People say things. For instance, there was a psychologist that did a bunch of research on ESP, extrasensory perception. And he said ESP is real based on his experiments. While a lot of people looked at his experiments and said, no, you're making this really big claim about ESP, extrasensory perception. And you're saying ESP exists, but the statistical evidence you're providing is really weak. Like you're doing like a one-tailed hypothesis test, which is just not good enough. So you're making a big claim. You need to have a lot of evidence to support that big claim. So that's always important. You don't want to go out on a limb and say something crazy or something very profound without having a lot of evidence to back it up. The other quote is, Google is not a synonym for research. That's a very important thing. Just because you Google something doesn't mean it's research. A lot of time you Google and you get junk. Wikipedia is garbage. It's not research. It's a bunch of people that just wrote things. And sometimes they put things that are purposely false on Wikipedia. So you can never use Wikipedia for research. Joe's amazing psychology page. I mean, as great as Joe might be, how do I know his psychology page is really that amazing? It can be filled with errors. So that's not research either. So just because you can find it on Google or find it on the web doesn't mean it's research. Google Scholar, on the other hand, that's getting in the right direction of research, right? Google Scholars give you quality manuscripts as results. Regular Google's not. Google Scholar is. So if you want to use Google Scholar, that's great. That gets you research. But if you just do a regular Google search, you're getting a whole bunch of stuff. Use of technology, we will be using PsycInfo database, the library database. We'll be using Google Scholar. And you'll have discussion boards online. And you'll have Launchpad every week online. And the exams will actually be online. So everything's online. So the use of technology is everywhere. I use YouTube for a bunch of lectures. I use Blackboard, but I use YouTube to post the lectures. You know, I'm very much in favor of technology. There's a lot of things we can do with it. I think the online courses are good, but they're only good if you really, get the most out of your experience with it, which means you have to really put the effort in. The online course is something where, I'm not there holding your hand. You're not coming to class. We're not meeting. So it's really up to you to take it on yourself and set your own schedule and make sure you do things on time and make sure you spend enough time on the material. That's up to you. So you have to learn time management, and you have to also be able to self-motivate. Some students like to be in a classroom where they know they have to come prepared because the professor is going to be there and they're going to know if there's something going on. Like you didn't do the assignment, the professor knows right away. I'm not going to know that until I grade your assignments. When I grade your assignments, I'll know if you're putting the effort in or not. But it's not going to happen right away. So you need to be self-motivated. You need to be very good with time management in the online arena, the online format. And I know everything's been online recently, but this is an asynchronous class. So we're not even meeting on Zoom. We're only meeting if you want to meet. To communicate. If you have questions or you need to talk to me, then we're meeting. But we're not meeting on a regular basis. So it's really up to you to get the stuff done. And the quality of the course is going to depend on how much you put into it. Some students love the asynchronous class because they can do the work whenever they want. And they are self-motivating and they're going to read the text and they're going to learn through this, learning through the exercises, through the Launchpad and all that stuff. They're great at that. Other students, if you don't force them to do something, they're not going to do it. So you need to be a self-starter. And it's very important that you follow the weekly guide, which is on the left side of Blackboard. Let's see where the weekly guide is again. See this tab here says weekly guide. What's that going to tell us? Well, all of this stuff is going to be hidden from you until the week that's coming up. So at first you're only going to see week 1. Psychology is a science, and you're going to see the learning objectives. Once you click on week 1, right at the top, week 1 to-do list. This is your schedule for week 1. These are the dates. This is the topic. This is the book reading. This is the Launchpad. And this is the due date. This is the same thing from the course guide I showed you before. But I put it in every week just to remind you. Week 1, do all this stuff. Make sure you do the assignments and by the due date. So it's right there in front of you so you know exactly what's going on. Introduction to the course, this is what you're watching now. And I want you to watch this in its entirety before you start the coursework because I'm running through the course with you. Video lecture, this is chapter 1 lecture. You're going to watch that. I'll talk about chapter 1. Here are the slides for chapter 1. This is a reference, right? So you can even print these out and take notes on the slides while you watch the video lecture. And the video lectures are all on YouTube. You can watch them whenever you want. Take notes on the slides if you want. Watch them over again if you want. You can watch them on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC, on your Mac, whatever. On your Apple Watch probably by now. I don't care how you watch the lecture, just watch it. I try to make it as insightful as possible, but try to watch the lecture. Don't just fast forward to the end and say, "Oh, I watched the lecture." Don't do that. Watch the actual lecture. Launchpad welcome unit. Here's the due date. You have to complete that. Launchpad chapter 1, the due date. You have to complete that. And then the 2 videos here related to chapter 1, I want you to watch both of them. So you just click watch video, it pops up. You can watch it even in the browser here. So watch these 2 videos. So this second one is really interesting. It's the Amazing Randy and how he debunks. This is one of my favorites, going back to intro psych. Uri Geller, the Israeli psychic, back in the 70s. And Uri Geller talked about his ability to bend spoons with his mind. So he was able to use his mind control, using psychokinesis, to bend the spoons. And people were like, wow, that's amazing. And he had a pretty big following. He's still very well known, Uri Geller. But the Amazing Randy debunked him, basically showed that he was a fraud. And this is all about skepticism and science. Science wins out over speculation, over magical thinking. Right? Is there a simpler explanation than psychokinetically bending a spoon? Well, probably, right? And that's how I want you to think as a scientist. What is the simplest explanation that makes sense? Right, this is the most parsimonious explanation. The simplest explanation that still explains a phenomenon. Okay. Let's go back to the syllabus. So that's the weekly guide, all over here. So that's week 1. When you get to week 2, if you go to weekly guide, you get to week 2. Here's your week 2. Very similar, and you have a discussion board. So discussion board 1 is going to be in week 2. And this is the due date. And when you want to do the discussion board, all you have to do is click on the discussion board. Right? And then you want to do create thread. And you'll put, discussion board 1 here as a subject, and then put your response here in the box. And here's the 3 paragraphs I want you to do a paraphrase of. This is due in week 2. So you're going to paraphrase these 3 passages, put them in the box like this, and then hit submit. Make sure you put discussion board 1 as your title. You don't have to put your name because your name will be on there. And that's it. That's how you do discussion boards. If you don't know already, you probably do. Let's go back to weekly guide, week 2. Anything else going on here in week 2? Just a little file here on how to paraphrase correctly, little guide, video lecture again. And you see it up here, and then a couple of videos here. Now, eventually, as you keep going through the weeks, you're going to get into writing the manuscript. And you're going to have to write rough drafts of the manuscript. And at the end of the semester, you're going to have to write a revised final paper. And that shows up in the syllabus here. So Launchpad, I went through already. You get a 2-week free trial. Use the same email address when you purchase the new one. Do not email or call me with technical questions since I am not IT. So if you have a problem with the Launchpad software, you need to call customer support for the Launchpad. And Launchpad has customer support. If you go to help, you have college support. And it's even in the assistance right here. Here's the website. For assistance, visit this. And then you can call them up, or you can even do like a chat online, and they will help you. So if you have a problem with Launchpad, like with actually getting in Launchpad, like I can't open Launchpad, I can't register an account on Launchpad. You need to go to Launchpad people, Macmillan, and ask them. It's hard to ask me because I'm not the IT person. I can't troubleshoot their software. It's their product. You need to contact them. Students email me and they're like up and they're panicking and they're just, I can't do this on Launchpad. What's wrong? Here's what it looks like. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I don't know what PC or you have a Mac, and I don't know exactly what's going on. So call Launchpad. So if there's a technical issue, call tech support. Try not to call me because I can't really help you. I don't know the software. I mean, I know the software, but I didn't write the software. Now, in terms of the research part, so we talked about the discussion boards. We talked about Launchpad. You're going to have to be working on a research paper. So I will provide some kind of experiment or survey for you. You will fill it out, complete the experiment or survey during the semester. I will collect the data. I will analyze the data for you. You will write the research paper based on that survey or experiment we've done. And I usually change it. It's about the pandemic lately because I'm more of a health psych person and the pandemic is like everything. You know, there's so much about the pandemic that we can research. People's attitudes about it, people's ability to follow the rules, health-related behaviors. It's just like there's so much going on with the pandemic that I've been focusing a lot of the research in the research class on pandemic-related issues. So it'll most likely be related to the pandemic, the research that we're doing this semester. You will write rough drafts. So you're going to write a rough draft of the introduction section, a rough draft of the method, a rough draft of the discussion, and then a rough draft of the references and the title page in the abstract. I will then grade them. I will give you feedback on all those rough drafts, and then you will revise them. At the end of the semester, you will submit a revised paper. Now, your rough drafts are usually worse off than the revised paper. However, if you don't follow the directions that I give you, if I say fix this and fix that, and you don't do anything, and you just submit the final paper without making the changes I suggest, then you're going to be in trouble. Because then your final paper grade might be the same or if not worse than the rough draft grade because you're not doing anything I told you to do. So make sure when you submit the rough drafts, you get the feedback back. Make sure you look at the feedback and follow it. And I write lots of comments. Make sure you look at the comments and make the changes. Don't just submit the same thing for the final paper as for the rough draft. Also, you cannot submit your rough drafts the same time or the same week as your final paper. I mean, that makes sense to me. It probably makes sense to you, but students do this all the time. They're like, oh, here's my rough draft and here's my final paper. And I'm just like, what? How are you supposed to submit a rough draft when you're submitting the final paper? It's the same thing. So if you do this, you will get zeros on the rough drafts. I will not give you credit for the rough draft if it's submitted at the same time as the final paper during the last week of class. I can't take rough drafts at that point. Do the rough drafts when they're due. And I will get them back to you as soon as possible with feedback and make the changes, and then at the end of the semester, submit the revised paper. It's very simple. Don't do everything. If you wait to the end of the semester to do the rough drafts, I will not take them. You will get zeros, and you're going to be very upset. Because you're going to have a big zero as your rough draft grade, and when I average the rough draft grade and the revised grade together, that's going to give you a really bad overall grade on the paper. Because the final paper grade is going to be 50% of the rough draft grade, and 50% of the revised grade. So don't do this. Class participation, you need to log into Blackboard. You need to do the assignments. If you don't do the assignments, I mark you as not attending. If you're marked as not attending, you may lose your financial aid. So make sure you're doing the assignments. That's how I know you're participating. You're submitting the assignments. You're doing the Launchpad. You're doing the discussion boards. Make sure you're doing all that stuff, and then the rough drafts. If you have serious financial issues or insurance issues or housing issues, please go to the Advocacy and Resource Center. And I give you the number here and the web address. So they're very helpful. They've helped my students in the past, especially with regard to housing. They will do what they can to help you. So if you need assistance, reach out and get it. It's here. It's available for you. Reach out to the Advocacy and Resource Center. It used to be known as Single Stop. They changed the name now to Advocacy and Resource Center. Counseling Center, if you're having problems, psychological problems, adjustment problems, that you're just way stressed. You're having problems at home. You're having problems with your friends, family, significant others, spouses, etc. The Counseling Center is available for you. You can call them. You can make an appointment. You can email them. Make an appointment. Appointments can be done on Zoom. I think they're doing some stuff face-to-face now, but a lot of it's on Zoom. And it's free. It's free counseling. I mean, take advantage of it. I mean, when are you going to get free counseling ever again? And they're good. It's good counseling. I mean, these are quality people working there. I mean, I know some of the people that work there. Very nice people, professional. They do a great job. They're very helpful to the students. And like I said before, it's free counseling. When I was a student, I used counseling. It was very helpful for me. It helped me organize things, helped me deal with stress. College is difficult, and college during a pandemic is ridiculously difficult. I mean, it's something that no one's prepared for, and you're in college, and you're dealing with a pandemic, which is not good for any of us. We're all struggling with the pandemic. So it's terrible that you have to experience it during college, but the Counseling Center is there for you. So reach out to them and get the help you need. Compliance and diversity. If you have any kind of harassment or discrimination or complaints, please contact them. You can report whatever is going on to them confidentially. Things will get taken care of. The lawyers that are involved are very efficient. They do a great job. They will get back to you and get you the guidance you need. So this includes discrimination, harassment, and sexual harassment. Accessibility, if you're struggling or you have a documented issue with regard to timing on the tests, there's a variety of things that qualify for accessibility. You need to bring documentation to them, and they need to write to me that you get accommodations. So I cannot give you accommodations until they approve it and write to me. So if you're getting accommodations for a variety of matters, I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons why someone would need accommodations. Make sure that it's approved by the Office of Accessibility and that they contact me. And then I know what you need, exactly what you need, and I can give it to you. So if it's extra time on the test, if it's extensions on things, whatever, as long as they contact me and tell me what you need, then we work together to make sure that everybody has a fair shot. Plagiarism. If I catch you plagiarizing during the paper, or even in the discussion board, if I catch you plagiarizing, it's an F for the semester, and I actually can report you to BMCC, disciplinary board, and they can, in certain circumstances, expel you from all of CUNY. So it's a very serious matter. I use Turnitin for the assignments, which means I check every database. You must, in your papers, you must paraphrase. You are not allowed to use direct quotes in a psychology research paper. Do not use direct quotes. You must always paraphrase. That means put it in your own words and then cite the source. Do not use direct quotes. Paraphrase and cite. Make sure you're always putting it in your own words. If you copy word for word from a source, it's plagiarism. If it's happening in the majority of your paper, this is a big problem. You will lose points, and you have the potential to get an F for the course if you're plagiarizing. Depends on the extent of plagiarism. But I've given Fs already for plagiarism. I've had some really foolish students who basically plagiarized entire papers and somehow thought I wasn't going to find this. So don't be lazy. Put things in your own words and then cite. That's one of the biggest parts of the course to learn to do, is to paraphrase. Put the information in your own words and then give credit. Do not copy and paste. That's the third warning. I'm very serious about this. I know exactly how much is copy and pasted, from where. I know the exact source. So don't do it. Don't just copy and paste. And don't copy and paste and put quotes. No quotes. You cannot use quotes in the paper. So quotes are not allowed. So don't just copy and paste and put quotes and say, okay, I'm good. No, you're not. Do not use quotes at all, and make sure everything's paraphrased. In terms of grading, midterm is 20%, the final is 20%. Launchpad, your final Launchpad grade overall is 25%. So that's a huge part of your final grade, is Launchpad. Discussion board, 10%. Research paper, 25%. And that involves averaging the rough draft and the final paper. And these are your grades. There will be no incomplete grades given in the course. So I do not give incompletes anymore because the system is abused. Students want incompletes for everything, and they want to do things on their own timetable. It doesn't work that way. The vast majority of students don't even complete the incomplete. They don't finish it, and then it turns to an F. So it's not worth it for me personally to do incompletes. So I do not do incompletes at all. You may take a W or a WU, and you can appeal that, and I will agree to appeal. So I will agree to a W if you have to withdraw for some kind of situation. But I don't do incompletes because they're abused and too many students want them. And it's not fair. It's not fair for the majority of the class to do the work in the time allotted, and then you have a couple students that they want to do the work in another 6 months. So they want another 3 or 4 months to write the paper, where everybody else has to write the paper in the semester time frame. And it's just not right. And it's being abused, so I do not do this anymore. And I will be happy to give you a W, though, if you can't complete the course, and then you take it again when you're in a better position or you have more time, etc. These are the class schedule. And make sure that you're registered through the registrar's office and you're cleared through the bursar's office. If you do not pay your bill, you do not take care of your financial aid, you will be in trouble. They will drop your entire schedule. And then you won't be able to get into the courses because it'll be after the drop add date and you'll be stuck with 0 courses. So I've seen this happen to students. Do not do this. Make sure that you pay your bill. It's very important to pay your bill. And make sure you take care of the financial aid issues. Work with the financial aid office. Do not come into a situation where you don't pay it and then all of a sudden, they drop your schedule. You don't want this happening. So just like everything else, just like when you pay for your electricity, you pay for your heat. If you don't pay your bill, then your electricity goes away, right? They shut it down. They shut down your heat. They shut down your cable if you don't pay your cable bill, your cell phone. Same thing with BMCC. You don't pay your bill, they shut down your entire course. They shut down your entire schedule. That's it. The problem is you don't get it back once you pay, right? Once it's gone, it's hard to get it back. So I know that's kind of unusual for me to be talking about that, but it's very important. Make sure you're registered and make sure you paid your bill and you have financial aid all taken care of. And if you have any questions along the way, you can always come see me about it, and I will help you in any way I can. But these things are best dealt with by the respective offices on campus or through email or through the phone. But academically, I'll help you in any way I can. So that's about it for the syllabus. So you have the syllabus, you have Launchpad. You remember the weekly guide is the key here. Course information gives you the syllabus, gives you the course guide, also gives you the instructions for Launchpad. So you can actually click on this link to get to the Launchpad. This is course information. And under assignments, this is where you're going to submit all the assignments. So I give you lectures, videos on YouTube about step-by-step how to do the assignments. I may update these videos as the semester goes along, so make sure you check back for updated things. This is basically writing the introduction. This is a video that I wrote about the introduction. And here is where you actually upload your introduction, your rough draft. So you would upload it as a PDF file. So you'd go in here, you'd click this link here, you'd upload as a PDF file, and then I would grade it, and you could then see the comments that I wrote on your paper, and you could make the changes I suggest. And after you upload your introduction, your method, and there's different dates for each of these, right? So I give you a couple weeks to do each section as we go through the course. So you have 4 uploads: intro, method, discussion, and then your title, abstract, and your references. I will write the results section. So you don't have to worry about results. You don't have to worry about statistics at all. I'm doing all that for you. This is not a statistics class. If you want to learn about statistics, you can always talk to me about it. I teach it. I love statistics, but I'm not going to bludgeon you with that in this course. This course is mostly about research and also about writing. There's a large writing component in the course. So you do these rough drafts, you upload as PDF files. I give you feedback after you submit your rough drafts. You then use that feedback to make changes to your paper. And at the end of the semester, you submit the final revised paper, which is basically all the sections of the paper, right? Including the results that I write. So I'll post the results, and you'll add that to your revised paper. So you're going to put all the sections of the paper. So you're going to have introduction, you're going to have title, you're going to have abstract, then you're going to have introduction, you're going to have method, you're going to have results, you're going to have discussion, you're going to have references, all of that together as a PDF file, and you can upload it here, final revised paper, and then I will grade the revision, and I will look to see if you made the changes. That's very important that I suggest. And that's pretty much it. So once again, weekly guide is the key because it gives you week by week. Course information gets you the syllabus, the course guide, and Launchpad. Assignments tab here gets you all the written assignments of the paper. If you haven't done an e-learning course or online course, do the e-learning orientation. And that's it. My office hours are Monday 2 to 4 this semester. I'm available through email. I'm available through Zoom. Make an appointment, please. And good luck. Hope you enjoy the course. And if you have any questions, reach out to me, and we'll be seeing each other online as the semester goes along. So good luck. Hope you like the video.